Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, Hare Krishna everyone. We continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 7. Today we will begin with text 21. Does anyone remember the main point from the last reading?
Hare Krishna. Yeah,
Hare Krishna.
we had read that the soul is eternal, it's primeval, ever existing. It never changes, undergoes any changes, whereas the material body undergoes changes. And the body needs a soul and undergoes 6 transformations, changes. The soul is eternal. So, but the body changes. The body is dependent on the soul. There's no possibility of maintaining the body permanently or eternally. Atma refers to the Supreme Lord and the living entity. And as Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15:7, that Mame Vamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta. The individual souls are part and parcels of the Super Soul. And the absolute truth is God is great, Vibhu, and the living entity is small, minute, unknown. So this is a perfect knowledge that we should understand. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you. Yeah, and as the body, as the soul, individual soul has entered the individual body, the super soul has entered the universal body, the universe. The Paramatma has entered every atom of the universe. Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. Yeah. So then reading on. Swarnam yatha grava suhe makara.
Swarnam yatha grava
Kshetreshu yokestadabhigya apnuyat.
Kshetru yogestad abhigya apnuyat.
Kshetreshu deheshu tathatma yoger.
Kshetresu deheshu tathatma yoge.
Adhyatma vidbrahmagatim labheta.
Adhyatma vidbrahmagatim labheta.
Okay. So translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. An expert geologist can understand where there is gold and by various processes can extract it from the gold ore. Similarly, a spiritually advanced person can understand how the spiritual particle exists within the body, and thus, by cultivating spiritual knowledge, he can attain perfection in spiritual life. However, as one who is not expert cannot understand where there is gold, a foolish person who has not cultivated spiritual knowledge cannot understand how the spirit exists within the body. Here is a very good example concerning spiritual understanding. Foolish rascals, including so-called jnanis, philosophers, and scientists, cannot understand the existence of the soul within the body because they are lacking in spiritual knowledge. So yeah, many people can't understand that there is a soul within the body. The Vedas enjoin tad vijnanartham sagurum eva bigachet. To understand spiritual knowledge, one must approach a bona fide spiritual master. Unless one has been trained in geology, one cannot detect gold in stone. Similarly, unless one has been trained by a spiritual master, he cannot understand what is spirit and what is matter. So Prabhupada is explaining just here, this is what Prahlāda Maharaj is saying also, that only an expert geologist can understand, there's a gold is there. the gold is over here, the ore, this is a gold ore, you can take out the gold from here. So similarly, one who has studied under an expert spiritual master, he will be able to understand, oh, there's a difference between the body and the soul. Just like we say, that if you want to be an expert doctor, you have to go study in a medical university. You want to be a lawyer, you have to go to law school. So here it is said, yogesh tat abhigya. This indicates that one who has connected himself with spiritual knowledge can understand that there is a spiritual soul within the body. So similarly, to understand the soul, one has to undertake spiritual studies. Just as we need to study material studies pertaining to the matter, so spiritual studies pertaining to the soul. So, however, one who is in an animalistic conception of life and has no spiritual culture cannot understand. As an expert mineralogist or geologist can understand where there is gold and can then invest his money to dig there and chemically separate the gold from the ore, an expert spiritualist can understand where the soul is within matter. One who has not been trained cannot distinguish between gold and stone. Similarly, fools and rascals who have not learned from an expert spiritual master what is soul and what is matter cannot understand the existence of the soul within the body. To understand such knowledge, one must be trained in the mystic yoga system or finally in the bhakti yoga system. So one needs to learn from the expert, right? That's what we are trying to understand. To understand there is gold in the stone, one has to be expert. To understand medical knowledge, one has to go to a medical school. So similarly, to understand spiritual knowledge, one has to go to the spiritual master. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 1855, Bhaktya mam abhijanati. Unless one takes shelter of the bhakti yoga process, one cannot understand the existence of the soul within the body. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita begins by teaching, Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantar prapti dhiras tatra namoyati. As the embodied soul continually passes in this body, from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. The self-realized soul is not bewildered by such a change. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text 13. Sorry, there's some disturbance. I'm not sure what it is. I'm not sure if you're able to hear it or is it from my side? Or...
Everything's quite
I'm
okay.
not
Clear.
able to hear the disturbance.
Yeah, even I can.
You can't hear? Oh, I don't know what is it then. Okay, anyways. So Prabhupada here is quoting Deino Asmin Yatha Dehe, that Krishna is saying that one who is steady, he understands that what is actually changing is the body, not the soul. And at death, the soul just passes into another body. The body has changes, as you just mentioned, that the body has 6 changes. Sneha just mentioned it. So it's changing, but the soul never changes. Soul similarly, the soul just changes into another body at death. I'm sorry. Thus, the first instruction is that one should understand that the soul is within the body and is transmigrating from one body to another. This is the beginning of spiritual knowledge. So, to understand the difference between body and spirit. Any person who is not expert in understanding this science or is unwilling to understand it remains in the bodily conception of life or the animalistic conception of life, as confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam, Yasyatma buddhi ko napetri dhatuke sa eva go khara. Every member of human society should clearly understand the instructions of Bhagavad Gita. For only in this way can one be spiritually elevated and automatically give up the false illusory knowledge by which one thinks I am this body and everything belonging to this body is mine. Aham mameti. So Prabhupada is saying, he's quoting again what we heard from Prahlāda Maharaj. Prahlāda Maharaj has been saying, give up this aham mameti. I am this body, everything that is related to the body is mine, and come to the spiritual platform. Understand we are not the body, we are spirit soul. So this doggish conception should be rejected immediately. One should be prepared to understand the spirit soul and the Supreme Spirit, God, who are eternally related. Thus, one may return home back to Godhead, having solved all the problems of life. All the problems of life. You can see how Prabhupada's word choice, So we go back home, then automatically all the problems are solved. No more problem. Problem is only in the material world, only on the material platform. Once one goes back home, automatically no more birth, death, old age, disease. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you all want to add anything? Or we go on to the next one. Okay. So, Ashtau Prakritaya Proktas
Asto prakritaya proktas
Traya Eva Hitad Gunaha
traya eva hi tad gunaha
Vikara Shodascharaye
vikara shodascharaye
Puman Eka Samanvaya.
Puman
man
eka
eka samanvaya.
The Lord's 8 separated material energies, the 3 modes of material nature, and the 16 transformations, the 11 senses, and the 5 gross material elements like earth and water. Within all these, the one spiritual soul exists as the observer. Therefore, all the great acharyas have concluded that the individual soul is conditioned by these material elements. As explained in the previous verse, Kshetreshu Deheshu Tathatma Yoge Adhyatma with Brahmagatim Labdate. A spiritually advanced person can understand how the spiritual particle exists within the body, and thus, by cultivating spiritual knowledge, he can attain perfection in life. So, seeing through the eyes of the scriptures are telling us, you're not the body, you're the soul. So, if one can actually see through the eyes of the scriptures that everyone is a part and parcel of Krishna, the Paramatma is in everyone's heart. So, the intelligent person who's expert in finding the self within the body must understand the 8 external energies which are listed in Bhagavad Gita 7.4. Umirapo nalo vayu kam mano buddhire vacha ahankara iti yamme bhinna prakritir ashtadha. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Altogether, these 8 comprise my separated material energies. So, which are the gross and which are the subtle ones in these 8?
Earth, water, fire, air, ether are gross.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And mind, intelligent, false ego are the subtle.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, thank you. And Krishna is saying both of these belong to him. The subtle and the gross, both belong to him. They are his material energies. Bhumi, earth, includes all the objects of sense perception. Rupa, form, ras, taste, gandha, smell, shabda, sound, and sparsha, touch. Within the earth are the fragrance of roses, the taste of sweet fruit, and whatever else we want. So the earth is the most grossest, right? It's going from gross to subtle. earth being the grossest and false ego being the most subtle. So of course, within the gross, also earth being the grossest and ether being the most subtle. So then earth has all the qualities. It also has the qualities of the other elements. So what are the qualities that it has?
Roop, ras, gandh, sparsh. Like the form and taste, smell,
Mhm.
and touch, and speech. Like how you can
Sound.
sound,
Yeah.
you can hear. You can hear
Yeah.
from the earth. Yeah,
Mm.
the sound.
Okay. Yeah. And then water. Water will have. Which one does water not have then?
Water will not have sound. It
The
has
earth quality. It will not have the earth quality
The being? Which
because
one?
it's subtler than earth.
Yeah. So which is that quality?
The quality of objects of senses, roop, ras, gandh, sabd, and sparsh.
no, but one water will
Yeah.
not have one of them.
Yeah. So which one it will not have?
Water doesn't have. It has taste. It
Smell,
has form. It
the
has
fragrance.
Mhm.
sound. It has touch. Also, we can touch the water. We can.
It doesn't have form, right?
The fragrance, the smell.
Fragrance. Yeah. Fragrance. Yeah. Water, because water has, let's go from the most subtle. Ether. Ether has sound, right? So then
Hmm.
air has what? Sound and air, what does it have? Sound and
Touch.
Sound and
touch.
touch. No, no.
That's right.
Touch.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Sound and touch, because the air, you can feel the air, right? You can hear the air,
Hmm.
you can feel the air.
Hmm.
Okay. Fire. Which one? What are the three the fire has?
Sound. Sorry. Touch. Touch
Roop,
Yeah. Roop, touch, and sound.
and feel.
sound.
Yeah. Because we can see the fire, we can hear the fire, and we can touch the fire, although we don't like to or didn't want to. And then water, which one does it have?
It
One of it
also.
gets added in
Yeah. It
water.
doesn't have the smell. So it has the
That's
root.
right. Yeah,
Roop,
and
gandh, sparsh, and shabd. Sound.
it doesn't have gandha, it has taste.
Sorry. Yeah. It doesn't
Ras,
have smell. It has taste. Yeah. Ras.
taste. Water has taste. Krishna
Hmm.
says, I'm the taste of
Taste.
the water. And then Krishna says, I'm the fragrance of the earth.
Hmm.
So the earth has the fragrance which the others don't have.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay, so now within the earth are the fragrance of roses, the taste of sweet fruit, and whatever else we want. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 110.4, Sarva Kama Duga Mahi, the earth Mahi, contains all our requirements. Thus, the objects of sense perception are all present in Bhumi or the earth. The gross material elements and subtle material elements, mind, intelligence, and ahankar, false ego, constitute the total material energy. So, you know how we break it down to 24 elements, right? The senses, the objects of the senses, the gross elements, the subtle elements. So everything, this is the total, the Mahatattva, this is what it is. If we break it down. So within the total material energy are the three material modes or qualities. These qualities, Sattvagun, Rajogun, and Tamogun, belong not to the soul, but to the material energy. It is because of the interaction of these three material modes of nature that the five knowledge gathering senses, the five working senses, and the control of the mind are manifested. So earlier in Bhagavatam, in the second and third canto, we read how the creation takes place. that everything is quiet. Then Mahavishnu is glancing at the material energy, and that's how the modes get agitated. When the modes are agitated, then begins the creation. The false ego is created. The Mahatattva is created. The false ego is created. Then the mind is created, and how all the creation from the most subtle to the most gross takes place. And then even the senses are created. So then according to these modes, the living entity gets the opportunity to perform different types of karma with different types of knowledge, thinking, feeling, and willing. Thus the bodily machine begins to work. So the body is controlled by the three modes of nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. The soul is not controlled by the three modes. It's the body that is controlled. That's what we have to understand, that the soul is separate from the body. But the body is under this control of the material nature. Material nature is, how does material nature control us? Through the,
By these, by these modes, the material nature controls us by these modes.
That's right, by the modes. And these modes, they affect the body. They're controlling the body, but they can't affect the soul because soul is spiritual. So, but then because of these modes, depending on the body we have a certain type of thinking, feeling, willing, because the mind is also affected by these modes. Mind is also material. And bodily machine begins to work. Body is called a machine. Krishna also says that in Bhagavad Gita. This has all been properly analyzed in Sankhya Yoga by the great acharyas, especially by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, in his incarnation as Devahuti Putra Kapila. This is indicated here by the word acharya. We need not follow anyone who is not an authorized acharya. Acharyavan Purusho Veda. One can understand the truth fully when he has taken shelter of an expert acharya. So Sankhya philosophy, the propounder is Lord Kapila Dev. So if we want to understand Sankhya philosophy, we need to understand teachings of Lord Kapila. We don't need to understand anyone else's because he is the propounder of this Sankhya philosophy. So as we need to, if we want to become expert in medical science, we have to go to the medical university. So spiritual knowledge, go to the spiritual master. The living entity is individual, but the body is a composition of many material elements. Living entity is individual, but the body is a composition of many material elements. So what we are thinking is we are this mind, we are our false ego, we are thinking we are this body, but all that is the body, either subtle or gross. And who are we? We are the individual soul. This is proved by the fact that as soon as the living entity quits this combination of material elements, it becomes a mere conglomeration of matter. The matter is qualitatively one, and the spiritual soul is qualitatively one with the Supreme. The matter is qualitatively one, and the spiritual soul is qualitatively one with the Supreme. Well, the spirit soul is qualitatively one, that we understand. How the matter is qualitatively one. It's all matter. The matter may have different manifestations. We are seeing different manifestations in this material world. And we get very enamored by it, right? The different bodies or the different things that we see. But it's all matter. Whereas spirit soul is qualitatively one with the Supreme Lord. Okay. The Supreme is one, and the individual soul is one. So the matter is qualitatively one, and the spiritual soul is qualitatively one with the Supreme. The Supreme is one, and the individual soul is one, but the individual soul is understood to be the master of the individual combination of material energy, whereas the Supreme Lord is the controller of the total material energy. So individual energy, the individual soul, we are inside our own body. Yeah, so we decide, oh, I want to live here, I want to eat now, I want to sleep now. So we are the master of our body. But the Supreme Lord, the Paramatma, is the controller of the entire material energy. The Mahavishnu, when he's breathing, the matter is being manifested. Material nature is manifested. When he breathes in, everything goes inside him. All the universes collapse into his body. The living entity is the master of his particular body, and according to his activities, he is subjected to different types of pains and pleasures. However, although the Supreme Person, the Paramatma, is also one, he is present as an individual in all the different bodies. So the Paramatma is one, but he is there in each and everyone's body also. But it doesn't mean Paramatma is divided. Paramatma is one. Just like the sun is there in Taiwan, in Panama, in America, in India, everywhere. So the sun is not divided. It doesn't become American sun or Indian sun or Taiwanese sun. Sun is sun. It just appears to be differently situated. Similarly, Paramatma is one, and he's present in all the bodies. It may appear to be differently situated, but he's not. He's unlimited, Paramatma. The material energy is in fact divided into 24 elements. The individual soul, the owner of the individual body, is a 25th subject, and above everything is Lord Vishnu, as Paramatma, the supreme controller, who is this 26th subject. So Sankhya, we understood, Sankhya divides this entire material world into 24 elements. You know, the five gross elements, the three subtle elements, then all the senses and the sense objects. So 24. 25th is the soul, individual soul. 26th is Paramatma, Lord Vishnu. So when one understands all of these 26 subjects, he becomes Adhyatmavit, an expert in understanding the distinction between matter and spirit. So like this, one can understand then what is matter, what is spirit. You know, we get so enamored by matter, right? We are so attached to our houses, our cars, our clothes, our bags, our shoes, but we have to understand, this is matter. Now, what is spirit? Spirit is the soul which is inside the individual body. And the Supreme Lord, He is the creator of all. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 13.3, Kshetra Kshetrayor Jnana. Understanding of the Kshetra, the constitution of the body, and of the individual soul, and the super soul consists real Gyan or knowledge. So, knowledge, there's so much knowledge going on, but the real knowledge is understanding the spirit soul, understanding the super soul, and understanding matter. Kshetra is our body, it's made of matter. So understanding the difference between matter, spirit, and the Supreme Spirit. Unless one ultimately understands that the Supreme Lord is eternally related with the individual soul, one's knowledge is imperfect. So one may know, okay, I'm not the body, I'm the soul. But till the time one does not understand that I have a relation with the super soul, with the Supreme Lord, till that time the knowledge is not complete, because one may end up thinking, oh, well, I am that Supreme Soul. But once one understands I have a relation with the Supreme Lord, then one will want to engage in that relationship. So this is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 7:19. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlabha. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. So one may know, okay, I'm not the body, I'm the soul, I'm not the body, I'm the soul. But one has to come to understand that I am not the Supreme Soul. Krishna is the Supreme Soul. He is the Supreme Lord. And I need to surrender unto Him. Then that is perfect knowledge. When one comes to understand surrender to Krishna, and one actually surrenders to Krishna, then he becomes a Mahatma. So everything material and spiritual consists of various energies of Vasudeva, to whom the individual soul, the spiritual part of the Supreme Lord, is subordinate. Upon understanding this perfect knowledge, one surrenders to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva Sarvamiti, Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. So when we can understand how great God is, we always saying God is great, but when we try to understand how great He is, then we automatically surrender. Just like we see somebody superior than us, we automatically we surrender to them, we submit to them, we want to hear from them, we want to follow their advice because we understand, oh, this person is better than me in some certain way. So let me learn from them, let me follow them. So when we can understand how great God is, that this entire material world belongs to Him, the entire spiritual world belongs to Him, the living entity is part and parcel of God. When we can understand this, automatically one will surrender to Krishna. Comments, questions? This verse was very technical, yeah?
Yes. Very technical.
Yeah, a lot of technical knowledge in this verse. Because we are dealing with Sankhya, the 24 elements, I'm sorry. And
Soul and Paramatma.
the soul, the Paramatma.
So, Shilpaji, here Prahlāda Maharaj is trying to explain us the Sankhya philosophy.
Yeah,
Right?
that's right.
What he has
Yeah.
learned from Narad Muni in the womb.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That everything, that how this material world is made of these 24 elements, and all this belongs to the Supreme Lord. The 25th is the spirit soul, and the 26th is the Supreme Lord. Everything belongs to the Supreme Lord.
So then how everything comes to Krishna.
Yeah, that's right. How everything comes to Krishna. So because we may think, I don't need to understand this material nature. I am spirit soul. Why shall I even bother with the material? But because our experience is only with the material nature. So once we can understand Krishna's relation with the material nature, then we will be able to understand Krishna's relation with us. So that's why it's important. Like the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that's why it's called like knowledge. Knowledge is being given in that because he's explaining that this is field of activities, this is matter, and that is what our daily experience is with matter. Yeah.
And since you mentioned also in one of the chapters, Krishna has mentioned that if you understand this, then you understand me. I'm forgetting the verse.
The
right?
13th chapter. 13th chapter,
Okay.
it says.
Yeah, I'm forgetting the verse, but then Krishna has said that if you understand this, my energies and my connection to them, then you can come to me. You understand me and you can come to me, right?
Yeah, I don't want to speculate, but in the sense we have to understand the material energy Krishna's relation with the material energy. We as spirit souls, our relationship with the material energy, and our relationship with Krishna. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, even
Hare
Krishna
Krishna.
says, no, Devi Esha Gunamai Mama Maya
Yes.
Durasya.
Yes,
So,
yes.
right? So it's these energy, these three modes, it belongs to me, right? And it's difficult to
Yes.
overcome. But if
Yes.
we surrender, then we can easily cross.
Yes,
right?
yes, very good, yes. That's right. That we simply have to surrender to Krishna, understanding everything belongs to him.
So the Sankhya philosophy is that also, right? It's of devotional, engage in devotional, right?
Oh,
Service.
yes. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, Lord Kapila Dev, that's what he
It's
was
not
saying.
to do with jnana, no. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not atheism. Sankhya is also teaching about devotional service. You know, we were hearing how Lord Kapila Dev was saying to Mother Devahuti that you become attached to the devotee, and in this way you get attached to Krishna. So, yeah, devotional service. So we'll stop here for today if there are no other comments or questions. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna, Gaur